Welcome back to the Big Asp Cornhole podcast, where we are now joined by Mr. Cornhole Science himself, ACL Pro, Anthony Ayon. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys?
Nothing.
What's happening?
Dude, I know. Again, man, you're a returning guest. That's kind of a big deal. I hope you know
That's
that.
a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have that many returning guests.
Yes, appreciate it. No, thanks for having me on again. I'm excited.
Of course. You did us a huge solid, and we'll get into the contest a little bit later, but before I forget to say thank you for doing that. That was awesome. The video turned out great. I can't wait for those guys to see it. So
nice.
It's be awesome. So congratulations, first of all, on getting the big time call up on the commentating gig. NBC Sports, how cool of an experience was that?
Man, that was a crazy experience, man. I've never been more nervous in my life. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, just like, how do you prepare for something like that? You know, it was all live. You know, it was kind of like, yeah, you get, like we were talking about at the beginning, you get one take at this. The crowd, just everything, you know, the cameras, you can't prepare for something like that. So I just kind of took it as, hey, you know, I'm not going to pass up on an opportunity for, you know, to get front row in cornhole, the thing that, you know, the sport that we love to do, love to talk cornhole. So I just kept telling myself, just talk cornhole and it's going to go and it's just going to flow and it's going to be fine. But man, I was crazy nervous going into it. It was crazy.
Did you try to prepare? Like, did you try to do any info, like research on the players that you knew were going to be there and that you thought might make a good run or something?
Yeah. So what I did is I went back and watched pretty much every national event and the USACs from last year.
Okay.
And kind of looked for trends in there. Like, my main thing was the entrance part of it. Once we got in the matches, I was like, we're just going to talk cornhole. That's going to be fun.
Yep.
But it was you know how Trey, you know, my man Trey Ryder, the GOAT of commentary, you know, he gets out there in the middle of the stage and they've got their button ups, you know, and that's the part I was worried about the most. I was like, what are we going to talk about? You know, can I get a heads up on, you know, what graphic is going to pop up, or, you know, what topic are we going to open with? So I kind of just went through everything that had been done so far, and I saw some trends on kind of some things that they had commonly talked about. So I kind of wrote a script on those, just something short. And that ended up being key because what I had kind of written up played nicely into the opener. So I just had to get past the opener.
Was there anybody in the armed force event that really impressed you that wasn't like necessarily like a pro? You know what I mean? Like that you just saw their throw and you're like, wow, they're like, they take it to that next level.
Yeah, so I knew going into it, man. I'm a big fan of Johnny Cox out of KCC, just because I've seen so many streams. You know, Mark Isley puts a lot of stuff out there that you can see. So I've been able to kind of follow that crew down there. You know, the Caleb Batsons and young Isabella, and seeing all those guys throw down there. So I knew he was going to come in fire. And then he matched up with Turpin, who's really solid and made a run in one of the blind draws recently. So I was excited to see those guys live. I haven't seen Cox live. I was excited to see him do some work, and he didn't disappoint. He basically did what I thought. You know, I'm sure he wants that finals match back. That's not the Johnny Cox that we know. He basically fell apart. But I know he's, you know, it's a learning experience, you know, just like the broadcast for me, a first time on the broadcast, first time for him on the broadcast. He's going to be much better next time.
So now that you have a major broadcast under your belt, is this something that, do you still see yourself getting nervous before you do it? Or now you're like, old news, like I got the stuff I can handle kind of thing?
No, I think there's always going to be nerves. I definitely feel better. So the next one's going to come up in 2 weeks. We're going to be out in Nashville. So they're going to do the club championship.
So they invited you back.
Yeah. So we're going to,
well, that means you did a good job. There you go.
You news. You know, I don't know if I did a good job or if I just didn't jack it up that bad, you know, but
either way,
yeah, so,
either way it works.
Now the club championship, can you tell people a little bit about that? That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. So the format's real. It's basically a team event, right? So you're going to have 4 men and 4 women, and you're going to mix up all the events, a singles and a doubles and a co-ed for each, you know, male, female. So you get 5 matches out of it with your 8 team. And there's some strategy involved. You know, maybe you have a coach that kind of goes, all right, we need to maybe put you as a single. We might make a stronger doubles team by putting you 2 together, and you get a point for each win. So there's 5 matches out of the 8, and you get a point. So you got to kind of be strategic on where you put your best player. You know, maybe you say maybe you're a weak player, you consider that a loss, you know, but then maybe you get your points the other places. So I'd be curious to see what strategy some of the clubs come out with.
Now, can it be the clubs? Can the players in the club, can they be from anywhere? Does it have to be? Is it regionally based? Is it is it regionally based?
Yeah, there are some restrictions on it. It's you know, there's a there's a miles radius restriction,
Okay.
especially if you have, states that are really congested.
Yeah.
You'll have a miles radius. Some of the places like even Colorado where we're still growing, right? So our clubs are spread out by hours. You'll have to submit something to Kevin Warner, the executive, and kind of get approval on anything that kind of, toes the line a little bit, but there are restrictions. You can't just, put together some money teams.
Well, that's what I figured, just stack it up kind of thing, which would be
exactly. Yeah.
I got that. All right. So ACL season, we're underway, man. We're through a few national events already. The season is, it's just kind of blowing right past us. Who, obviously you have a unique perspective because you get to commentate matches, but you also get to play against some of these guys. So first, is there been anybody that you've gotten to play this year that maybe that's a little under the radar that kind of impressed you so far?
Well, he's not under the radar anymore. I had Stephen Burtis at round 1 in that natty that he won.
Okay.
That was a fun match. I mean, to play someone who's at the top of the game, actually came out pretty fire. I went up 8-0, and then he just smashed me. Like the light bulb went on, and I think he ended up winning like 21-10. So he went on a tear.
I mean, you might be the reason he won.
So that's actually funny. What he said after the match was super cool guy, by the way.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Awesome guy. And I'd never met him before, never seen him live. But after the match, you have respect for someone who did what he did in that match. And he was like, he caught me later when he had made it to the finals, right before his finals match. He said, "Hey man, thanks for waking me up early in the morning. That 8-0 start got me woke up." And then he just rolled the whole event. So it was cool to see. It's always good to lose to the guy that wins too.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe not guys that you've thrown against, but again, you're a commentator. You get to go to these national events. You get to see a lot. Who are some of the young guns or people that not the mainstream names that you think they're maybe like a year away, but they're going to be really, really good once they kind of keep getting that experience?
This one's kind of hands down for me, and he's actually my favorite cornhole player to watch right now.
Really? Okay.
And that's Caleb Batson. If I could pick any match to watch, it's going to watch a Caleb Batson match. I mean, when you talk about a guy that can do anything in the game of cornhole, when you say, oh, he has all the shots. No, Caleb Batson has all the shots.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the cutting edge stuff, like reverse cutters. There's only like 2 or 3 guys that can throw one. And when you see it thrown in a match, it stands out to you right away. And he throws the hardest bag. And it is so loaded, and he can just do whatever he wants with it.
He's a big boy. Like, people forget he's what, 15?
15, yeah.
I mean, he's bigger than, like, I would say at least half of the competition that he's facing.
Yeah, he stands eye to eye with me. He's got to be 6'1", maybe.
He's a big dude. I mean, he's just a big, and he's still growing. I mean, that's the crazy part to think about. Like, he's already good now when he's supposed to be some like awkward teenager.
Yeah, and he's super quiet. When you try to talk to him, you can see the age. But on the court or on the boards, man, he looks like a veteran, man. He's solid.
I've been impressed, not even by his play, but again, like how he handles himself. Like, they've had some big matches. And listen, I hate to say it because I really like Eddie, but Eddie's kind of been the one that's let them down on like the big matches on the double stage. I mean, he's kind of held his own and been pretty confident. And I think that's really impressive for a 15-year-old to kind of hold it together like that, because it's not what you expect.
Yeah, and he did really good on the big stage. He's had a couple of big stage appearances, and I think the more that he does that, the better he's going to get. But man, big fan of that.
Kind of reminds me, like, the tales that people say of Caleb Batson remind me of last year's tales of everyone talking about Eric Davis and how the dude's like could just hit any shot, throw anything in the arsenal. But yeah, honestly, watching Caleb Batson throughout the year this year, it's like, yeah, he really does have every shot. Like, it's not just a push or a roll. Like, he has every variation of the roll. He has cut, airmail, everything. He can hit it. He's a fun to watch.
I think what's going to take him over the top is the experience in shot selection and strategy. Not overdoing the roll bag. When I should throw a slick side, he shies away from the slick side quite a bit. I think he'd use that a little bit more. But yeah, the more he gets experience, that shot selection and just strategically is going to take him to the next level because he's got the shots.
I'm assuming you watched the pro shootout from this past weekend.
Yeah, I caught as much as I could. I didn't see everything, but
did you see the finals? Matt Guy versus Jamie.
Yes.
Now you are the master at breaking down somebody's throw. To me, it looks like Jamie Graham is back. It looked like he, I don't know if something just clicked, but it looked like his throw from last year. He had that hard wrist flick right at the end, and he was throwing it aggressively. And I don't know if it was just a confidence thing, but did you notice anything like that? That it seemed like he's kind of back to the Jamie Graham of old?
Yeah, I did. So one thing to mention to both of those guys is they were both throwing a non-typical throw for them, right?
Yeah.
So the whole talk was guys stop stepping, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But Jamie Graham comes out throwing foot forward.
Yep.
And I talked to him at the last Nationals. He said 3 Nationals, I've had 3 different foot presentations.
Yeah.
So he stepped, and then he went non-throwing, and then he went throwing. They both look good with the throwing foot forward. But yeah, Jamie Graham, he's doing something new in his grip too. I actually recorded it today, and I was kind of going through it in slow-mo. And last year he kind of had this presentation where he would bring the bag to his face and then settle it down and then do that wrist flick that you talk about.
Yeah.
And now he's pretty steady, and he has this like new angle to it. And then he kind of goes through his motion and flick it. I think it's a lot better. It just takes out some of that early motion.
Well, and he can he can roll a bag now, which I mean, I'm sure maybe he could, but he actually showed it, and that is scary. So if he's adding that to it, I mean, people are putting on notice. I mean, it was only a matter of time before he kind of broke out of his shell in singles. But I mean, if that's his coming out party, he's coming out at the right time. I mean, that was pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, everybody talks about the roll baggers because, you have those guys that do it a lot. But there are some top elite baggers out there that will use it when they have to. Trey Birchfield, another good example. No one says Trey Birchfield can roll. He can roll whenever he wants to, and he'll use it. And then Jamie Graham is another good example of these guys that use it at the right time and use it, sparingly.
I don't think Jamie Graham gets enough credit for being one of the smarter players. Like, he's a very strategic player. He doesn't take a lot of dumb shots. Like he really, I think he even prides himself on that aspect of it. Do you see that the same way?
Yeah, I think he just makes it look so easy, that it looks like
it
he's
helps
done.
too, yeah. Yeah, correct.
It makes it look so easy.
Who are some other players that that you think are just they're very smart in their approach and how like their strategy, and they kind of just they have a strategy going into a match and they kind of hit it to a T? Is there anyone that comes to mind when you think of that?
Yeah, for sure. Josh Gross, man. I think he's the most strategic, just head smart player in the game.
He's probably watching film right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's an analyst guy. He's constantly breaking stuff down. We actually bounce some stuff back and forth. He's actually opened my eyes up to some new ideas. He's one of the other few baggers throwing reverse cutters. I think that'll be the next evolution of the game. But yeah, hands down, I'd have to say Josh Gross. He's his IQ, his game IQ is really high.
Okay. We had brought up a few times to other guests on the show, this concept that actually Dana brought up, and then we brought up to Trey. What are your thoughts on if every national was different with board conditions, meaning like consistent across the national, but different at each national? So let's say the first one, all the boards are super fast, and the second ones are super tacky. Are you for that as a player? All right, one. And then as an analyst, wouldn't you find it interesting, or is it the same thought regardless?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I mean, obviously it changes the game quite a bit, right? And it definitely, there's more thought going into your bag, what's in your bag going into a national. That's a tough one, man. I think it makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna bring out a little bit more of the talent of who can make the adjustments when necessary. I mean, everyone struggles with different things. Like I love bag or boards as slow and tacky as possible.
I was gonna say, because you like to manipulate it. You like to play those angled games. Okay.
And then other baggers are like, hey, I like it as fast as possible. So, I think you just have to do it and see what happens. I mean, some people are going to succeed in certain speeds and others. And,
I mean, I would love to see a major event outside. I mean, listen, we all started playing cornhole outside. Let's make it. Let's try to do it outside. I would love that. I mean, I know they did an open event last year. I think,
and
or
one
of those
pros
shootouts.
Complained about it, and then to which I told him, like, there's no complaining. You were all in the same conditions.
Yeah.
Like, how can you complain about that?
That would be hilarious, because you're going to have those guys that, some of the top 10 baggers that don't have a flat bag, and
I
mean, obviously your
2-foot cutters from the wind, because it's just going to get tore up.
But you know what? If you practice enough outside, you learn how to play the windage on every toss. So
no doubt.
I think there's definitely needs to make that happen. We got to make it happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause just for a second. We're gonna bring in our 2 winners of the competition, and then we'll introduce them, and then we're gonna show the video, and we'll go from there. Stan,
All
you
right.
want to pause
Yeah,
this
I'll
just
go
for a
ahead and
second?
pause this.
Let's go.
All right, so we are back. We have the whole crew here. Anthony, you're still with us. That's great. We are now joined by the 2 winners of the contest, Mr. Bruce Chandler, who is rocking a sexy 724 Bagger Company sweatshirt, and Jen, our dear friend, Mrs. Rikes. Can we call you Mrs. Rikes? Is that okay?
The better
Jen,
half
the better
of
half,
the Reichs
the much
family.
better looking half of the Rikes family. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop. We're gonna play the video for you guys. We're gonna share our screen. You guys have not seen the video yet, correct? I mean, you've been waiting for this for a while, right? All right. So we're gonna play the video. You guys are gonna get to see it for the first time live in person, and then when the video's over, feel free to shoot questions over to Anthony, and we'll shut up for once, and we'll just kind of
For a change.
Yeah, for a change.
All right.
We'll go from there. All right. So hold on just a second. We're gonna pull up the video, and we hope you guys enjoy.
All right, here we go.
Hang on, buddy.
What's up, Bagger Nation? I'm Anthony Ayon, back in the lab, doing something outside of the box this time, a little something different for all of us. A shout out to Big Asp Podcast, who came up with the idea to feature 2 baggers out there in the cornhole community through a dissection of their pitch mechanics. Congratulations to Bruce Chandler out of Alaska's Far North Cornhole Club and Genevieve Reeks out of Iowa for their nominations. Let's get to it. All right, so check it out. Let's work our way through the motions of your pitch mechanics side by side with Trey Birchfield. You guys have a similar setup, so he's a good fit for comparison. For a non-stepper, most elite baggers will set up heel to toe, which you are, illustrating it perfectly here with your weight distributed 50-50 front and back foot. Very close alignment to Trey. As you move through your backswing, I like the straight arm and locked elbow. It's very important the elbow does lock and remains behind your back and forward swing. No bent elbows or chicken wings out to the side, nothing crazy like that. Check out the knees and waist, though. We see unnecessary bending at the waist and also at the knees. See how still Trey's head is while yours bobs up and down on knee extension. Trey's illustrating what we see most elite baggers do with a more upright chest and minimized knee bends. This gives a more consistent release point and release force without contribution from your base there. So Trey and most elite baggers will show athletic motion with unlocked knees and just slowly transition their weight forward to their front foot. You can kind of see you start out way on front of your foot. I like the squareness of your chest and hips and how they're presented straight towards the head.
I'm getting terrible service here. I keep cutting out on video.
And throughout your release. So with those elite baggers who have those beautiful flat rotating bags, we see a tight fist pack of resin in the grip. Here's a good example of Ryan Windsor's grip from a back view. Let me grab these sweet Baghdadi triple threats right quick. Now what that's doing is upon release of the bag, there's a quick transition from fist to flat palm and a quick snap of the fingers extending towards the hole called a finger blast. This is a major contribution to bag rotation. With your fingers finishing already extended and not finishing flat palm up, you're missing the major elements that generate flat bag rotation. All right, let's pull Genevieve in. So Genevieve, straight up, there's a lot going right for you. There's only 2 things I would focus on to clean up your pitch. Starting off with your pre-pitch presentation, we see that common throwing foot forward, heel to toe, weight 50-50. Side by side with King, we see a lot of similarities here. Chest presented square to the board, as well as your hips. As we move through the pitch, we see a nice straight arm locked elbow behind your forward swing, throwing shoulder relaxed, slightly lower than your non-throwing shoulder with a butterfly style grip that we can see in the back. Very similar to what we see with King. The first area of focus is so minor, but worth mentioning. You have this bend at the knee where typically players are afraid of hitting their leg or hip, so they bend inside their body. This is not common at the elite level, although we see guys like Jeff Reynolds having success with this. As we finish off with your forward swing, you combined an explosion of the bent knee back to straight, as well as a high calf raise. This is really just a lot of unnecessary force coming out of your base. running it forward and back. Next to King, you can see how calm his base is. Keep a close eye on his heels while you demonstrate this rocking explosion. Again, a minor cleanup for you to consider. Because you have so much going right, really the biggest improvement opportunity for you is going to be in your release. So side by side with King, we can see a transition from fist to flat palm with a palm facing to the sky. The resolution isn't great with the frames per second, but we can see on release, your pinky is low, below the rest of your fingers, which I call a weak side release. This is what separates good players from great players, is being able to rotate that palm flat, rotating the pinky from below all your fingers to level with all of your fingers.
Beautiful.
Okay, so first off, what were your so Jen, we'll start with you since Bruce is somewhere. I don't know where Bruce was. We'll figure it out. First of all, he compared you to Derek King, which I think is pretty sweet. What were your initial thoughts? I mean, this is the first time we got to see the video, so what'd you think?
Yeah, it's weird seeing, like, especially from that angle, because like most of the time if somebody's filming you, it's either from the back or the side, so it's weird to see it from that angle. But I can definitely see, like, especially with the power from below, I'm a super power thrower. Like, if I don't have some kind of like carpet or sticky bag, it's flying off the back. And that's one of my most like frustrated points with myself, because I'm like, he's always telling me, he's like, just slow your roll. And I'm like, I'm trying to. Like, I mean, obviously I'm not huge on the muscle aspect here, but so yeah, I definitely that. And then the flat hand, because Reggie's always talking about the snap of the fingers, like Anthony brought up in the video, and just trying to get my hand more flat is just.
Anthony, are there drills that, because I'm the same way. Jen, I'm the same way. When I release a bag, I've been trying to get better at throwing a flatter bag, getting the palm up. Is there anything specific that you tell people to work on to try to get that pinky up or that palm flat as they're releasing the bag? I think Mike Carwin might have told me the one time you told him to pretend like he's opening a doorknob. Is that correct?
Yeah. This might sound kind of dumb, but I would tell people to, and most people have never done it, but shadow throw. So throw without a bag in a mirror and go through that motion. And that's what 5% of baggers are able to get to there.
Yeah.
It's 95% of people can't do it. I mean, it really takes a lot of muscle memory and strength and training to get your hand to go bam right there. So I would tell people to, don't let anyone catch you, because it might look kind of weird, but shadow throw in the mirror and really focus on, without a bag, getting that hand to flip over, and then try and keep that going when you put a bag in your hand.
I'm going downstairs and doing it while my wife is gonna wake up, and I'm just gonna be shadow throwing right in the mirror.
But really the best thing you can do, and I'll tell this to every new bagger, is throw a sticky bag right out of the gate, because you're gonna get all these, flaws in your throw coming out with these slick style bags. It's gonna hide a lot of the imperfections in your flatness. So if you could go right to suede, which a lot of us, have done, who have been throwing for anything more than 3 years before the bag boom, we all threw suede, and it trains you to throw a flat bag for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So Bruce, did you
I
catch
had
that
some
video?
I caught like a part of it right where he's talking about my backswing, and
So
then
I think the most important part was that he first compared you to Trey Birchfield. So I think that was pretty awesome.
Ding, ding, ding.
I don't know about all that, but I'll take it.
But so Anthony, you had compared his setup to Trey Birchfield a little bit. And you said the biggest thing with his was that when you watch his follow through and his, I guess even the take back, was the head position. Is that something common that you see with a lot of amateur players, where that, like, the unnecessary movements?
Yeah, very common to have the, baggers think they need to, like, it's 27 feet and 1 pound. So, I mean, baggers come out, thinking that they really need to put a lot of juice in it to get it up there. And it comes from exploding out of your knees. And, with the bend in the back for him, eliminating those two would be a huge improvement already. And actually that was something I had to get over. I kind of had this really front heavy presentation like he does, and I would kind of come up on my front knee. It took me months to get rid of that. So it doesn't happen over time and it takes work, but it did change my game quite a bit for sure.
There's a pro that does that where he front loads a lot, isn't there? And he kicks that back leg up a lot.
Chad Braun.
Oh, Chad Braun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a unique, very.
If you watch
He's the
him, though,
greatest athlete in all of cornhole.
If you watch him though, but by the time he starts his take back, his head is actually already dipped forward though. So if you really watched his head, it probably actually stays right about the same plane.
Gotcha.
And he comes from that bowling background too. We've talked to him. That's why he says he has that leg kick. He's like, even when I bowl, he said that his leg goes up in the air as opposed to like staying grounded. So I just
counterbalance.
Yeah, I was a bowler before I was a cornhole player, and I had the same thing in my first couple of years.
Yeah.
It was trying to do the step up, leg kick out, so I wouldn't hit the bag into my leg, and it just never felt natural. So I went to just a stable standing in one place throw. But
Bruce,
I'll have to hopefully
you bend your knee so much because you feel like you need to in order to get like the power.
It's felt like it. It feels like if I don't do it, I don't get it to the to the board. Like I feel like I need to throw more muscle in it. I don't know. I'm a little bit longer armed, so if I throw just a straight one, it feels like I can short arm it even with a long arm. If that makes sense.
I'm with you. Listen, I've always stepped. I always stepped up until probably maybe a year ago, right? I always stepped, and I felt like I always needed to because I'm like I feel like I have to crow hop and chuck the fucking thing if I don't step. I felt like my accuracy was always off. But then the more I started doing it, I'd start telling myself, don't be a bitch. It's a pound. Like you can throw a pound 27 feet. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? I know. I work out occasionally. I work out. But seriously, that's what it is. It really is just repetition. And now if I even try to step when I do it, I fall apart. So it's just repetition, right, Anthony?
Yeah, no doubt. And Bruce, the next biggest thing for you was, I don't know if you caught it on the video with your reception, but your grip, your fingers are very flat on the backside throughout your entire swing. You really need to get, deeper in there and get a fist pack.
Okay.
Because one of the biggest parts of a good flat rotating bag is exploding those fingers and releasing that bag. And if your finger, it's like a snake that's coiled up. If it's coiled up, it can strike, and yours are already just kind of fully extended, so you're not able to really get those fingers to help you on release.
Okay. So yeah, I'm hoping actually I can get like a link to the video so I can hear everything you said. I caught like 2 parts.
As soon as this is over, I'll send you guys the link to the video just itself, and then like I said, we're gonna post this interview itself. It'll be up on harddragpush.com for all of you that are listening to this right now.
Your reception's great now, Bruce.
Yeah, no, this is great.
I disconnected from my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi
well,
was
before
supposed
you
to be
hopped
awesome.
on, we were wondering if you had Wi-Fi in Alaska. So it's a big step for you guys, right? Been there for 2-3 weeks or something.
I don't live in an igloo either, so.
Oh, that's good. I know he has a normal house.
It's not winter time, right? We know that. Jeez.
Right. Okay. Some people ask that. I swear. I go out of state and they're like, "You live in an igloo?"
Jen, do you guys have any other questions for Anthony while he's on here?
Maybe one of my questions is, so I stand, because I'm such a power thrower, I stand like 2.5 feet behind the front of the board. Do you think that moving up to the front of the board and then making sure that my feet are on the ground and, keeping my base strong, do you think that will help kind of the accuracy of my bag? Or do you think I should stay that 2 feet behind, work on it from there, and then move up to the front?
I mean, I would move up to the front. It's like any sport. I feel like you're going to be more accurate at a shorter distance than a longer distance. I kind of feel like you're at a disadvantage. We see that with Rosie Streaker too. She's a stepper, but if you notice, she's at the far back of the box. And when she steps and releases, she's barely even halfway to the front of the board. So she's throwing an extra 1.5 feet, or an extra 2 feet at least. So, trim off that distance if you can, and just adjust the height of your bag or your landing spot, and take advantage of as shorter possible distance as possible. Definitely.
Question I got. So we're going to be improving our throws from here. What's the first most important thing I should be working on? And then from there, what's the next step I should take to actually improving my throws?
I would say the grip first. I think that's going to be the biggest priority for you. And then you can work the knee contribution later. But yeah, getting those fingers a little bit more fist packed and curled up is gonna make a drastic improvement for you on bag flatness and your line to the hole for sure.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
I'm telling you guys, he knows what he's talking about. He analyzed our throws the first time we had him on without us knowing, and it made a world of difference. I
Didn't show at work. It didn't show in Erie.
I threw great. Listen, when we weren't playing Crew Cup, I threw great. Like
Cold.
I
That's
threw
cold.
great after that. But it did. I started throwing with the butterfly grip, and that really changed everything. I actually started throwing a flat bag, and it's much flatter now. My thing is, I still tend to dip my shoulder, which I have to constantly tell myself not to do.
You feel it
Reggie
happens
has a weird
after
hip
a little
hike.
while. You know,
Yeah.
after
Well,
you
this is my
throw,
thing.
you
Yeah,
fatigue.
and that's my thing is I always try to tell myself keep my shoulders level because if I start dipping my shoulder, I tend to leave a bag right, and I know it. I'm doing it. It was the same thing with every sport I've ever done. Same thing with golf. You know what I mean? If you're a golfer and if you start dipping one of your shoulders or you drop your back, your right shoulder, you're gonna hit behind the ball, things like that. So I just have to constantly work on it. But if you work on the things he's telling you, I mean, you're gonna see immediate improvements.
Well, I try to watch his mistakes and not learn from him. So
Good luck.
Reggie's got a pretty unique throw, actually.
He does.
You really do. But Anthony, I got to tell you, I mean, I know you were so impressed with my throw that you had very minimal things to say about it.
It's gone backwards.
But I'll tell you what, the thing you told me to change, I changed the opposite. I'm stepping now.
Okay.
And it's been a marked improvement just in 2 weeks for me. But I think it was all mental. I'll go back to standing stationary again, but I just had a little mental lapse for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, I don't think there's anything wrong with stepping. I mean, we see a lot of success with steppers, and that's what I tell people: stationary or step, whatever's comfortable there. I think what's going to be the most important is what's happening at that point of release. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see Matt Guy come out. I mean, I see video of Matt Guy from 20 years ago stepping the same exact way he was a month ago.
Yep.
So to see him come out not stepping just blew my mind. He's been doing that for 20 years in competition level.
And averaging a 10.88.
Yeah.
I mean,
his average was insane.
Ridiculous. I mean, it wasn't just like that he was doing okay. I mean, the guy was throwing lights out. I mean, he made it to the finals. I mean, and was averaging that much. So I mean, he just had an off game, and everybody has an off game. So it just drives me crazy when everyone's like, "Oh, he needs to start stepping again." It's like, listen, if I change one thing about my throw, I'm lucky if I hit the board.
Mhm.
If I'm wearing the wrong shorts,
Yeah.
I'm not hitting the board.
Yeah, it's
Every
Yes.
time I practice,
the wrong
something new.
shoes, wrong. If I don't have leggings on and I wear jeans, I'm SOL. I'm not throwing well that whole weekend.
Seriously, if I don't wear like short shorts, like rugby shorts or something, I constantly catch my shorts, like as I'm following through, because I just come through so close to my leg, and I've tried to change it, but then I feel like my arm gets all loopy and all that stuff. So I'm like, listen, I just got to wear short shorts, and people are just gonna have to embrace the thigh.
So
So
coming soon, we're gonna have the Big Asp Cornhole
line,
podcast short shorts and maybe
Big Asp ass
I bet
shorts.
Timmy buys them first.
absolutely, yeah.
Timmy might
It
already
gotta be
have
made
them.
out of like rugby material. Otherwise, don't wear them.
Yeah, I mean they gotta have the rigidity to them. That's the best. part about it.
I don't want to see anything extra.
It's gotta feel like you're wearing a cardboard bag over your pants.
Correct. All right, so Anthony, I'm going to present you with a few listener questions. If you guys want to hang out, you're more than welcome to. But I'm going to shoot a few questions to you, Anthony, that our listeners always send to us. Okay.
Let me pull this up.
One of my favorite questions that was asked was actually by former ACL pro John Clark. He wanted to know, what are your top 5 technically sound players, if there is such a thing, or the top 5 throws you consider like the prettiest in the game?
Yeah, prettiest. Man, I am a big fan right now of Kaylee Hunter. Her technique,
She's smooth. Yeah.
if you haven't seen her bag in person, oh, you have to. If you're at a tournament, go watch it. Her and Derek King have a lot of just sound technique in their throw, but also their bag flight is just beautiful.
Yep.
Then
And
you
again,
have
very
some
quiet.
technicians
Like
like
you can't even tell. Like when they release the bag, you can't even tell they did anything. I mean, everything's
Yeah.
just very quiet. There's minimal movement.
Flawless.
Yeah, she's crazy.
very
talented.
minimal. Kaylee Hunter, very minimal movement for sure. I would say Caleb Batson and Jamie Graham have our sound technique and beautiful bags too. And then you have someone like Trey Ryder, the robot. I mean, his bag isn't as loaded and as pretty, but technique wise, I mean, it's on point. So
Yeah.
those 5 people, if you could watch anyone, watch those 5.
Well, Anthony, I have a question for you and Sean, actually.
Oh, God.
So this is from, I thought it was actually a pretty good question from.
I don't think he worded it right. But, okay.
Do you want to reword it?
I don't know what he's trying to say, but go ahead. You can ask it.
Well, I think I understand what he's coming from. So Josh Quint asked, from both of your guys' perspective, one being a PT and the other one a pro/analyst. He wants to know, where does the arm naturally swing forward? So, and he asked like perpendicular to the hips, or if it's open or closed. I think he's asking like, where in your mind do you think like is it most optimal to put your feet to get the best arm swing for a cornhole toss?
Is it feet, or is it like where the backswing ends?
That's what
I think it has to do with all of the above.
Like that pivot point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about where the swing begins, there has to be some sort of shoulder extension before there's some sort of shoulder flexion. And then if you're talking about, I mean, if he's talking about,
or how far to bring your backswing, because I know that for
Yeah.
me that was kind of an iffy, like, do I bring it back too far and then feel like I have to rush on the forward, or do I only bring it to my hip and then I'm having less of a backswing?
well, and then one of the things I think a lot of people, they suffer from cornhole shoulder. I don't know if you guys have like heard this, right? Their shoulder starts getting a little sore, and a lot of that's because they're not. I'm going nerding out here. They don't externally rotate their shoulder, because as you start flexing your shoulder, it goes forward. So basically, if you just reach your arm forward, as you get closer to 90 degrees, if you don't externally rotate your shoulder, you're going to get some sort of an impingement. So we've had a few players. Eric Anderson was actually one of them. Around here, his step and was trying to do all the, the bounce and cut, and he wasn't really using good mechanics, and he started getting a little of an impingement in there. I don't know if that's what he's asking, or if he's asking closed or open position of the hips as you're lining up. I guess that's why I didn't want to bring this question up, because wasn't sure. Didn't think it was worded very well.
No, see, Josh,
I could just speak to it all in general if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so with the hips, all elite baggers. I mean, this is one that's across the board, and everything that I'm saying, is not just what I do. I look for trends amongst the top baggers. We're not going to get everybody into some cookie cutter throw, right? I mean, everyone's going to have a little tweak, but if you're just talking about trends, things that you see as a majority, hips definitely square to the board. So you're not going to be presented to the side, facing away. So definitely hips square to the board. And then you will always straighten your elbow. There's only a few top baggers that don't straighten. Like Maya Cup has this slight bend. Danny Seals, they have this kind of little bent little elbow that never gets straight. But everyone else, I mean, they're locking that sucker at some point. You got like Justin Stranger that locks it way up here at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Isidro who waits till he gets all the way to the back. Bam, and then he snaps it straight at the back. You definitely want to straighten that. And then on the backswing, it's always, and this is, I actually went through, there were 40 baggers that were on the ACL broadcast last year. And I went through and marked each one of those. And it was like an overwhelming majority, like 85% of them stopped just behind their back pocket.
Okay.
So not, if you want to call that like 30 or 45 degrees, only a few baggers go all the way back. Like Jay Rubin gets real deep. Megan Moffin gets way back
real
there.
loopy throw. Like he's so robotic, but to me,
Not like bowling.
that's how impressive Jay Rubin is, because his throw is so loopy and there's so many moving parts and components, and his throw, I guess, is very rhythmic, I guess, if you want to say it. But I mean, if you fuck up one little part of that, I mean, it's not going to hit the board. I mean, it's crazy.
Jay Rubin's baller, and he's getting way back there, and it's working for him. But majority is just behind your back pocket. And then you got like James Baldwin, who barely makes it to his leg. I mean, he's popping that thing off from the front, but majority is just past your pocket.
James Baldwin always struck me as somebody that, like, I don't know, like his throw looks very unathletic. Does that make sense? Like there's nothing to it. It's almost like he's just trying to get the fucking bag away from him. Like,
it's very short and snappy.
Yeah.
It's just,
I still don't get it. It's like he's T-Rexing the thing every time.
But the rest of his body is so quiet, all of it is in the arm. All your variable is right there.
Yeah, I mean, he really does have no there's no backswing really to it. I mean, it's just all exploding forward, which, I mean, I guess if you're limiting a variable, I mean, I guess it could be more accurate, I guess, but
first time I saw
whatever he's doing works for him.
Yeah.
Because he fills the hole up. Whatever he's doing works.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I mean, don't listen to me. All right. With John Hostler wants to know, with board conditions changing so often at different opens and parts of the country, what are you doing to factor in to make sure that you have like a bag to cover every arsenal? Or I know you tend to be a Reynolds player for the most part, right? Do you just stick with the same bag regardless of board conditions?
No, so I mean, and this might go back to the beginning where we were talking about introducing different board conditions.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the more consistent you can keep your, how hard you're throwing and your loft and your height and your spot, and then just modifying your bag might be a good strategy for me as a carpet thrower. And you know as well with Reynolds, they get slower over time.
Mhm.
So I actually have different speed PAs. So
Okay.
I have some that have hit the board so many times, and with PAs, the more that carpet hits the board, it starts to pound down the fiber, and it gets glossy and it gets sticky as hell.
So let me ask you, there's a rumor going around, okay? And you throw PAs quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you notice any difference in the speed of the carpet if the color changes?
Heard that too. I haven't. I mean, there could be
Okay,
something
I'm
to it.
not saying, I'm not trying to lead the witness here.
Yeah.
I'm asking a question. So
And I got a lot of colors. I I haven't noticed. I haven't
Yeah.
noticed.
Sorry.
okay.
No way.
I'm just asking because that's been
Yeah.
kind of. And now let me ask you this other question. And Jeff only listens to like every other episode, so he might skip this one. Have you noticed anything different between the newer PAs, like the stamped ones, versus like an OG one?
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
you feel like they
definitely
take
something-
longer to break in before they get sticky?
Mine's the fill. I don't know. There's something that changed in the fill. But yeah, there is a different feel for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, different feel.
Okay.
Like
Well,
the
that's
old ones better or new ones better?
old.
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 I agree.
Yep. We still have our dirty teal set. Like that's just still, that's like our favorite.
I keep them in the garage for a reason.
Anytime
No
we go to a
matter what
tournament, we're
temperature.
like, nah, we'll throw something different. We're like, nah, what? We throw those really well.
Old
though.
reliable.
Fucking throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Yeah, Bruce knows.
Eric Anderson wants to know.
We don't care about Eric. Move
What's
on.
this collaboration you guys are doing in Philly? What are you guys doing?
EA. Yeah, we haven't planned it out yet, but EA. I mean, he's awesome. He's in your neck of the woods, right?
Yep.
He is.
He's got mad game, and he's just been talking, and we just been talking about how to highlight some of his stuff and maybe do a collab on. So we still got to work it out, but yeah, stand by. We'll probably drop something on Cornhole Science with EA showing us how to do some stuff. Some of his good stuff.
He's skilled.
All right. Let's see here.
Oh,
And then
Josh.
I'll just say, what are some techniques? So Darren Smithhurst wants to know, what are some techniques to toughen up your mental game?
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and maybe this is I think anyone can answer this who's played cornhole for years. For me, it's playing as competitive as you can, even above your level.
Yeah.
Having played at the pro level, that has really freed up my mind at the local and regional level. Just seeing the talent out there and seeing where you stand, coming back home, I'm less of a mind, my mind is less in the way, having challenged myself and playing some of the best. So play outside of your level, man. I mean, that's just going to get your head game right.
Do you tend to overanalyze when you play?
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I do. That's a downside for me for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. How do you try to avoid that, especially when you're playing singles, when it's just you and somebody else? Are you a headphone guy? Are you
No, I'm never a headphone guy, and I don't
Okay.
take a long time to throw. But yeah, overanalyzing, I kind of feel like I strategically picked the right bag. Sometimes I think there could be an easier way to do it with maybe a lower probability,
Okay.
but I don't know. Yeah, I overthink it too much. I think I need to let that drink a little more or something. I don't know.
It's one of our new favorite questions to ask.
Oh, got to throw it out there.
I was gonna do the walk-up song.
Okay, you could do walk-up song, but
So
I got
if
one for the
Anthony
group.
Ayon, you're making it to the main stage, right? ACL championship. They start playing a walk-up song. What's your walk-up song?
Oh man,
RPS
Probably-
man.
probably something Biggie Smalls,
All right.
maybe Snoop, something 90s hip hop for sure.
Michael Bolton.
Background stuff is
Okay,
good.
can I ask you a question? So you posted. So your daughter recently had a birthday, correct?
Yeah, I got a 17-year-old, man. It's
Dude,
crazy.
you look younger now than you did when she was born. How's that?
Yeah,
possible?
that's what someone said. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's
so,
crazy.
So I'm aging well. That's good.
It
It's
is.
great though, man. They
Yeah,
don't-
so
It made me
Got
gray.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, so congratulations, by the way, because you made it almost, right? She's almost 18, so
One more.
year. I have a long time. My daughter's turning 4 on Sunday, so I still have forever.
Ways, bro. You just
But
get
you're
started.
like, I can use you. I can use you like as a beacon of light, saying that life gets better or something, right? Something.
He tries to
It
use
gets better, man. It's all about independence. Every level of independence is huge.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we're not making this road sound fun.
All
Well,
right, I have a
all right,
question
go.
for everyone in the crew.
Okay.
Last question, and I need everyone's honest answer because it's a hot topic. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Anthony, first answer.
It's not a sandwich, man.
Thank you. Let's
Yeah.
just end this once and for all.
You're an analytic guy. How's it not a
Yeah,
sandwich?
so that's why it's not a sandwich. It done.
Doesn't even need
gotta be-
analyze.
It's
Not a
got to be
sandwich.
open on two sides to be a sandwich.
All right, then what's a hoagie then? What's a Subway sub? Is that not a sandwich?
It's its own damn thing.
It's a
sub.
sandwich.
Why
bro.
can't a hot dog just be a hot dog? Like, why does it
Exactly.
have to
A
be
hot dog is
a-
its own thing.
It's got to be categorized into something. It can't just be a hot dog.
So is
Hot
it
dog.
just
It's
a
a
hot
hot
dog?
dog.
Or are you talking about like hot dog shaped things like brats or? 'cause
Listen,
I'm
I
not
don't know
gonna call
where
it
you're
hot
going
dog.
with this.
You could be
but-
a sausage,
just saying.
like an Italian sausage sandwich. If you get it, it's just on a hoagie roll. I
You
mean,
call that
I
a
don't know.
sandwich?
Yeah, I call it a hoagie. I
If you want a
guess.
hot dog sandwich, just get a freaking pack of bologna and throw it between a pair of buns. It's the same
It's a
meat.
bologna sandwich, Reggie.
No, it's the same meat.
A hot dog sandwich would have 4 hot dogs across 2 pieces of bread.
Listen, he had
I've
Matt,
made hot dog
like I think it was
sandwiches and
Matt
cut 'em in
Guy was the
half.
only person like all weekend that agreed with him. So he's like
Yeah.
It's the
still
only
holding
one I
on this
needed.
glimmer
Just
of
give it
hope.
up.
It's
Yeah.
the
You don't
only
need to
one I
ask
needed.
anybody else then.
I think
Yeah.
he just felt bad for him because he
Again, I'll take the pity. I'll take the pity vote because it was Matt Guy. So
All right.
to me, we're still winning. That's a million votes to like 12 others that I have against it. Matt Guy counts as 1 million.
Well, thank you very much for all you guys joining us. Anthony, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to help us do this contest. It's something that we wanted to do. We thought it'd be really cool to get back. Thank you, Jen and Bruce, for participating in the contest.
Thank you guys.
I hope you guys are getting something out of it. We'll definitely get you guys a copy of the video ASAP, just so you guys can kind of break it down and everything. But we hope you guys have.
Sorry, I missed
This
it.
is going to be the first video interview ever we're posting up. So it's kind
I
of
don't know why you got to
got dressed up.
Us.
We even got dressed up a little bit. Okay, I'm wearing an Airwolf. I can't even see-
Shaved last week, so I figured I'd be
Good
good.
shave, Bruce. I almost didn't recognize you at first.
I know.
You
So,
had the
I was like,
beautiful-
wait a minute. In the video, I had a big beard. They're not even gonna know it's me. So
it's okay.
It's him. We promise. All right.
It is him. It is
it's
him.
me.
All right. So
And I
we will
appreciate it.
let
Thank you,
you go.
Anthony. I'm looking forward to seeing everything you actually said I got to miss. So I appreciate
Yeah, no, thank you guys too. I mean, a great idea to do something for the developing baggers. You know, there's a lot of new guys, a lot of new ladies and guys coming on the scene. So it's good to kind of share some of this information. So really good idea.
And do you charge
get
per,
good
do you
enough to
charge
do
per
that.
hour like to do these videos or anything? Because you're gonna get swarmed with this stuff now.
Yeah,
First
it's,
one's
it's
free.
actually, the cornhole science stuff. You would, the amount of messages that come in from all the way from new baggers all the way to pros is unbelievable. I mean,
Well, I can imagine.
people are interested in talking about how to develop. So,
You start a
it's really
business
good
yet?
idea.
Oh, hey, first of all, that the course that you guys put on for free was outstanding. I
Yeah,
thought that
that
was
was
such a
awesome.
good idea. I sat there and watched the whole thing when you posted for free, and you guys posted it for free online, which I thought was crazy cool.
Yeah.
I thought you guys did all. I mean, Carwin was okay talking about the bags, but the rest of you guys did phenomenal job. But yeah, that was really cool. I liked it. You guys did an awesome job.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, something maybe that all the clubs could start doing, you know, I mean, like you said, we just put on a free clinic. We had 91 people show up from the Denver metro area. Blew our mind. So yeah, just a way to kind of give back and to develop new people. And if clubs kind of did that around, I mean, I think it would go a long way.
Absolutely.
Anthony, I got a question for you. Do you foresee, I mean, there's obviously a market for people that want help with their throw. I mean, you're definitely the best so far. Why not, kind of pursue that a little bit?
Yeah, I haven't done anything to date to make money. I don't know. I just like the game so
Yeah.
much that, but yeah, maybe at some point,
Yeah.
even at the pro level, look, there's pros that have trainers that,
Look at golf, swing coaches, everything
yeah,
like
swing
that.
coaches
Yeah.
or whatever. So I think eventually the game will get there. It's not quite there, but yeah, feel free. I help everybody that hits me up on Messenger. Feel free to hit me up. And we'll work.
Careful what you ask for, man.
I know. Yeah, that might really open up the gates.
All right, guys.
You're gonna have to put your Cash App tag at the bottom of those videos.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're gonna close it out. And thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks,
Thank you,
and
guys.
looking
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing it on podcast. Thank you.